And let's see. I think we're on. And we're on. Yes, the chick saying we're on. Hello, and welcome to the Book of Boba Fett Aftershow here on JLJ Media. I am the JLJ of JLJ Media. That's right, kids. It never gets old saying that. Now, folks, I just got to tell you, I am very overwhelmed. Not underwhelmed, not just whelmed. I'm overwhelmed that you've made this show our number one show on this network in just 3 weeks. I don't know what's going on, but thank you. Thank you so much for listening to us. I really appreciate it and watching us. Thanks to all the Boba Fett Facebook groups and Twitter groups and online groups. I thank you so much. I just overwhelmed. We like talking about the show. We know the fans are divided. Listen to the episode. Hopefully people are coming together. And I have two of my co-hosts who are with me that just, I couldn't do it alone because I'd be talking to myself. It would be very boring. The OG, Frank Moran, and our newbie, John Dunphy. Hi, you guys.
Hello.
You're here. Chapter 4, The Gathering Storm. That's what we're talking about today. Here for Boba Fett. It's moving right along. We are halfway in the series, you guys. Halfway. Only have 4 more episodes left, and it's all over. Overall thoughts of the episode, Mr. Frank Moran. We'll go with you first.
You know, I for some of the criticisms that I've been bringing up, or not necessarily criticisms, but questions, wondering about what's the deal, I feel like got addressed in this episode, which is nice. So you know, and I feel like I guess we're saying goodbye to that back to tank. I'll miss it. I will miss that back to tank.
I will in my house now.
Yeah.
Now, a lot of your water bill will be very high. John, what do you think of the episode overall?
I would have to say overall that I loved this episode. Oh my god, I loved this episode, and I've really liked the show until now. And after tonight, I think I love the show. And you know, I finally got to watch it when I got home from work today. So like, it was so awesome to watch. I love this show. I love it.
I would say I'm with both of you guys. I think, you know, for me, it did. It answered the questions. Frank and I have been wondering when the flashbacks will probably stop. I have a feeling they probably now are going to stop because we actually were caught up. Now we're caught up. And like I said, we're wondering, how do you find Fennec? Well, now we know. How this happened. Now we know. Why does he have his armor yet? Now we know. Like, so like it's all kind of, now it's to the point where it's kind of the present day. I mean, almost. I mean, I guess they still go searching for, I guess, the armor still, I guess, on some level. But I love that it's all kind of coming together now. And to me, I know criticism about how slow. I think to me it was the right pacing to me. Like now we know. Now we're at the part. We went back to the Sarlacc, did all that stuff. We'll break down the whole season, but the episode. But I liked it. I thought, yeah, questions were answered. Names were given. So yes, you stop calling it the Vespa Gang now. You call them the Mods. That's another story. We'll talk about that in a second. So we start off with the back to tank, obviously. And he's dreaming of a white Christmas. No, he's dreaming of a bantha. He's riding it. This big horn, you know, the whole creature. And he goes to Bib Fortuna's palace. So he decides not to go all full barrel. There's too many folks there. And he says, not today, old girl. So how do you feel about that first part, folks? Who wants to go first?
I mean, I feel it makes sense. You know, it's as much as Boba is kind of doing a 180 on what he thought his life was going to be. It's like, well, all right, I need my sweet ride back. But he's also smart enough to know that, all right, there's a bunch of guards. So, and I'm just one person. So I gotta, you know, wait and wait for the opportune moment to strike.
I was excited they decided to tell us about the ship because we wondered where the ship came from. We're waiting for the Slave One, which I think they've changed the name now to what is it now? What do they call it now?
It's the fire spray gunship, I think.
Yeah, it always the word slave anymore, which of course I'm not against on some level. But in this case, I was fine with it. I mean, for this case or something like that. But I love that ship. I know we're going to get there in a second, obviously, but I love it. I love the way it flies, love the way it looks. It's so different than like a spaceship. Anyway. Oh, so what you think about this? So you agree with Frank that it was good that he decided to hang back and get reinforcements later, which was fitting, of course.
Yeah, and it actually made me wonder if, at some point, if you know what had happened to the Tusken Raiders, if that hadn't happened, I almost wonder if his plan, you know, he went there and he said, no, not today. There's too many guards. I wonder if he was hoping that at some point he and the Tusken Raiders could even go in there and take over, from Bib. So that was a thought that I had, when I saw that scene.
Yeah, good. And then so him and old girl are eating some meat. Don't know what they're eating. They're just throwing meat at them. It looks like I mean, I love that these creatures look real to me, look fine, look real to me. I love it. And she's chomping down too.
Yeah, I guess I never thought that banthas were meat eaters. For some reason, I was just like, oh, it's just like an herbivore, right?
Yeah, me too. I never thought me either. I was like, you say you threw the meat at it, and then she was a child. She was going to town. I was like, oh, okay. I never thought so either. I tell you every week that desert just gets me. It looks like a real ass desert. I'm like, I'm worn out as they're trying to walk through it. And that bantha goes slow too, just like I'm going through the desert, bitches. I'm going through the desert. I feel it. I just feel like that's the great part of the cinematography and all the design. I feel like I'm in a desert.
I don't know, because I always imagine it's just like the desert. When I see desert, I think hot, and yet everybody's just got all these multiple layers on. I'm like, man, what's the secret, guys? I could not layer up like that out in the desert. I just don't think I could do
you're
it.
Supposed to. That's the point. You're supposed to, right? It's like when you do, like, I always see workers outside doing like gardeners or construction people, and when it's hot, they're covered up. There's something about that. Something about the whole like in sunburn and drying out or something.
I don't want to be dried out, guys. I know that for sure. That I know.
Frank, I think you are dried out already. I think that's a problem. You need to water your gills or something. But it's funny you say that. I think that there's something about that. I think there's a whole science that that's supposed to, As I always say, you should drink warm liquid when you're hot and cold liquid when you're cold.
What? Whoa.
Yeah. So your body's
gross.
So your body isn't going shock, Frank. It's going shock.
I've never once in my life said I want some warm water. Never once in my life.
Yeah. Can I just say about this scene too, because we were talking about the bantha and they're eating in the desert. And something that I loved about this episode, and I just loved about Star Wars and these big weird creatures, right? Like, I love how they're just sitting in the desert and this giant thing next to him just is this weird like lick of the lips, and you just see Boba throw this piece of meat in there and it just burps. Like, and there were so many good funny moments. Like, there were a lot of good serious moments that like some really good storytelling in this, but there were so many good moments that were like so humorous also. Like, that's part of the reason that I really enjoyed this episode.
There were a lot of humor. There's a lot of little humor in there. There's some great lines. We'll mention too. There's some great lines. But while they're eating, now it's like, oh, now we're catching up to where he found Fennec. We see the flash of the light. Like, now we're at the Mandalorian, I think. But now we're catching up, so to speak. Now we're catching up, and we're seeing, and those are the flashes of light that were used to blind Fennec to get her knocked out and everything. And he finds her. So how do you feel about, you guys, when you saw this start happening, when you start putting two and two together, like, this is what's happening now?
Yeah.
You kind of get that?
Oh, yeah, and you hear the music, too. You hear that familiar, that familiar theme. That was one of those moments that you kind of like, you're just so into the story, and then you almost kind of like, you sit up a little bit because you're like, whoa, I know that song and I know exactly what's happening here. I've seen this before, just from a different angle.
Right. Isn't that funny, Frank?
Yeah, it's always cool when a story is told from multiple angles and you see the other side of the story. Because it's like when you see from the Mandalorian, you just see the footsteps coming up to Fennec. You're imagining, oh, this is something really sinister. To see it from the other side, where Boba's even coming up and he's like cautious, he's not sure like what's going on. It's always cool to see the other side to get more context.
Because I'm trying to remember, didn't they pan up on Mandalorian? This time they pan down. Was that a difference? I think it was a difference. Was there something like that? I can't remember. It was something like that. Somebody in the chat could tell me, or somebody out there could tell me. It was like that. But I feel like, right, it was a different angle. It was a whole different angle. I was like, oh, what's so funny? It was like, did they film at the same time? No, they didn't film at the same time. But it was kind of cool that they added that element. So now we knew, okay, this is what's happening. So he finds her, and now we pick up where we didn't see on the Mandalorian, obviously, pick up where we leave off, because they go off. Then he brings her to, this is, now folks, we get something new. Brings her to a mod parlor for modification. And so, again, these hipster-looking youngins, as I called them last time, are running this whole thing where they modified, I guess, it's almost like a makeshift hospital, so to speak, for people like them. So they're mods, which for me, mod comes from the 60s, obviously stuff. And I don't know about you guys, but I feel like it's the music. I wrote this down, like the music, the very techno 90s music in the back, like it's like the Bionic Woman. It was like da, 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 da. I was like, okay. I was like, then they're fixing her up, and and he's like doing his thing. I couldn't stop laughing on some level. I just started laughing. And when he was like, we don't do walk-ins, and homeboy just drops a sack of coins. He's like, you should live with that. I mean, it was like a little super like that. I feel like it was like Bionic Woman updated. Like, and then she gets this, it's new arm or whatever. I don't know. It's kind of crazy. What did you guys think about that whole reveal and that whole scene?
For me, I want to live in the Star Wars universe. I mean, to feel like some sort of what would be a life-ending injury. He was like, no, we can just mod you, and then that's going to be cool. And I would suppose that perhaps either Darth Vader with his, the Star Wars version of Instagram, or the Emperor just leaking out sweet hits of Darth Vader getting, Anakin getting built into Darth Vader. So maybe I was like, man, yeah, being modded is cool. All right, I'm going to do it too. So sometimes Darth Vader was an inspiration, guys. He wasn't just a bad guy.
I'm drinking him right now, bro. I have Darth on my cup. Exactly.
He was a trendsetter.
I love that freak. That's hilarious. John, what did you think about this whole? They're mods.
Yeah, I mean, it was just so weird. It was so weird, and that's why I loved it. And it made me like, this scene made me like warm up to the biker gang more too, like to Boba's new biker gang. Like this whole scene, it gave me more of an appreciation for them. I just thought it was so interesting. And then even like when the guy finishes up like repairing Fennec, Boba's like, aren't you going to close her up? And he's like, no, you can't cover up all that beautiful machinery. Like, it was just so weird, like so weird. But yeah, no, I thought it was great, honestly.
I mean, if we went online right now, we would find some fiction written about the one mod guy, just like with the kind of weird orangey glasses that were kind of irising in and out. So I'm sure there's already stuff written about him.
Well, one of the lead guy, he is somebody apparently in real life.
Thundercat.
Yes.
Yes.
Like, okay. Sure. Okay. And like I said, it was like a Bionic Woman. He was making her better, like making her stronger and better. This was very Fennec-centric episode, so we finally got that. People love that. But folks, do you think if folks were really pissed and turned off last week by the Vespa biker gang, they were calling them? Do you think this might help a little bit? Because now we're getting an explanation about them a little bit. No.
I don't know. John's a big fan of the mods. I know. So
I'm warming up to them. I am. I think, you know what it is? I think I liked the guy that was kind of like running the mod parlor there. And I feel like he seems to be very talented at what he does. And I think it boosts the entire group's credibility a little bit because they got him, they got him working on them. So,
So okay, we'll go with that.
I mean, I don't know. It seems like I think people. Well, I don't know if it was so much the mods themselves, the biker gang from last week, or the vehicles that they were on. They're really. I feel like that is the one that people seem to, at least the things that I would see online, that people were kind of gravitating towards commenting on those rather than the people themselves.
And the chase scene, which I commented on. Like I'm saying, I was laughing. I mean, it was just like I say, do everything but the kitchen sink in there. It was just all the cliches you could think of in a scene was in there. I mean, for me, I didn't hate it so much; it just made me laugh. I was like, that's kind of they're going for something, and maybe it wasn't executed the best, but I thought it was funny. So back to afterwards, she awakens. He takes her. And he fills her on his journey up to that point. He fills her on what's going on, and literally he's recruiting her. So he knows her history. He knows who she is. She's like, "You aren't you dad?" And clearly he's not. And now the thing is, like, they reach kind of a deal to go get the slave one, or whatever you want to call it these days, at Bib Fortuna. So now they're working together. Kind of. It's kind of like a trial. I feel like it was a trial, kind of like first date. We'll see how this works out, and maybe we'll continue. What do you think about that?
Well, what I like is you start seeing Boba just kind of start planting the seeds for how he operates, or his new kind of worldview, how he's interacting with people, and I feel like you can see Fennec kind of starting to at least be initially enough intrigued by the way that Boba's treating her, that she's willing to go along with this and not make such a big deal about it. And I think it really pays off towards the end when Boba does truly live up to his word with Fennec.
Yeah, he tried. He seems he's showing her that it's respect. Basically, he's showing her respect, and I think she's like, "Ooh, okay," because she was kind of shocked by them. John, what do you think?
I really liked their interactions in this episode. I thought that and we're really seeing, because I feel like we've seen online a lot of people saying like, this isn't really the Boba Fett I was expecting. It's like Boba Fett's gone soft. It's this, it's that. It's not that he has gone soft. He can still kick ass. He just has a different way of thinking, and he's tired of being the guy that's sent out as the bulldog that he's just there to take care of, be the muscle. Like he's smarter than that, and he knows he can be more than that. And I think so. The interaction between them, and I think he was kind of waking up Fennec to that idea too, that like you don't have to just be somebody that gets hired to go out and put hits on people. Like you can be part of my crew and I'll treat you well. And I loved their interactions throughout the whole episode.
He said, and I quote, she said, "The Tuscans have made you soft." He said, "No, it made me strong."
Yeah.
And that's actually, I feel like for folks who are saying he's soft, he's telling us in this episode, he said it like 4 or 5 times, basically through the episode, I don't want to be that bulldog anymore. Yeah. And he's asking her, aren't you tired of doing the bidding for people who are dumb, basically, or idiots, and get you unnecessarily killed or in danger? Like, he's like, and to me, he's an older guy. He's done. He's tired.
Yeah.
I understand. I'm tired. I'm old. I'm tired. I don't want to do anymore either. Shit. He's tired. I get it. Yeah. He's tired of these missions where he's going out there for other people. They're saying, we can make money. We can we can really work this out. That we could be associates.
Yeah.
And so, but she's used to her being out there. She likes being on the road and out there doing it. He's like, come on, girl, think about this one. Like, come on, girl. Right. And so I like that. But first he sends off the bantha.
Yeah. Well, what I to go back just to one thing about the story is because I feel like many people are thinking, and even I've thought, like, where's the Boba's badass moment? I feel like he's been painted to be such a badass before, as we talked about last week, but understanding a little bit more about Boba's mindset and his worldview now after being with the Tuskens, it's just I think he's shrewd, but it's a slow burn, and I think we're going to see by the end of the season, like, it all paying off, and Boba, like, oh yeah, that is Boba Fett. We're seeing the shrewdness in addition to him being the kick-ass part. But I feel like just the way the story set up, especially introducing the flashbacks to set up that reason so we can see the world, his changing worldview, just means that it's being spaced out. So you're not getting the instantaneous, like, oh yeah, he's shrewd and he's badass. I think the story is necessitating a little slow burn to get us to that point.
I think you're right. I think what the problem is, people were expecting Mandalorian Part 3. They wanted almost like a story a week where it's just like fight, and show, because he was because for his appearances on that show, he was badass, right? Mm-hmm. So I mean, it was like and his appearances there were that, and also he's a person of legend because he wasn't on screen that much. I mean, literally in Empire Strikes Back, he wasn't really on, but he became this cult figure and supposed badass, as we're saying, that I think people just thought he's gonna come back. It'll be instant fights every week, the fight of the week, and blah blah. And is that they're actually giving us a drama? Is what they're giving us. So I agree with you, Frank. I think people are getting upset because it's not. It's so boring. I'm like, well, you're tired. You're boring. No, I think it's not boring. I actually kind of like that they're setting it up for us. So you're right. So that you keep saying, prepare for war. Like, I feel like a big moment's coming. Like, it's going to happen, folks. Yeah. I think it's going to happen. But he's going to fight smarter, not harder, I think. Make any sense?
Yeah.
In the chat room, it's almost like he just wants to live in peace. I think he does. He wants to live in peace, eat food, collect. They're always eating. Eat food, collect money, and rules respect. That's all he wants. He said he wants to bring peace back to the streets. He said.
Yeah.
Later on, when he talked to the generals and everybody. So I mean.
And I feel like we've heard him say it on The Mandalorian. I feel like we've heard him say it on this show that, like, at this point in his life, he's just a guy that's trying to make his way through the galaxy. Like, he's said it many times. I'm not looking to go fighting everybody I meet. Like, I'm just trying to make it.
That's my life. I just want to live in a concrete jungle and survive, kids. I don't do anything else. Leave me alone. Yeah. I just want to lay in my garden. Like, that's all I want to do. Shit. Also, also, we sent the bantha away. That's what I was saying. I'm like, why you do that?
I enjoyed the relationship. I guess I'm a sucker. They did a real good job in a short amount of time to really kind of set up this, this little quasi relationship between Boba and the Bantha. And you're like, oh, all right, I'm gonna miss this thing. I miss it.
I know. He's all, go have baby banthas. I'm like, oh dang. Like, okay. He's like, bye. That was it, kids. And so he didn't want to go. He didn't want to go. I'm like, oh, they wouldn't go. And she's like, excuse me, don't you want to get your ship first before you do all that? But he was like, that's fine.
He's confident, man. He's confident.
He's confident. He's like, he was confident. But he also detailed. But see, now you guys want badass. He lays out what he wants to do. He says, "I want to find my armor, kill him, and take the throne."
Yeah.
Okay, there he goes. Laid out. He wants to do that. I mean, that's what he wants to do. He's tired of being a hunter. And I told myself, I wrote down, I said, Fennec is showing that she's smart, methodical. She's a good companion piece to him in terms of he's being thoughtful also. They can actually work this out. At that point, I was like, this should be good. So they get into the palace. We see some familiar droids, you kids. I love the little crossover. We saw a cook droid, another droid from the Clone Wars, and I know some cute little, they're all in there. I love the one with all the arms. She's all doing all the arm stuff. She just slices off his neck or whatever, and then killed that.
Yeah. I feel like I talked about last week was that we need to see that chef, droid chef series. I mean, right there.
Yep.
Jon Favreau knew what I was looking for.
He did. It's for you, Frank. It was totally for you.
Yeah. He just catered it right there to me. It's like, yes, here's my little small scene to let you know. Don't worry, guys. The Droid Chef show. It's coming 2023.
You did say that so funny, and I saw. I was like, "Oh, there it is."
Yep.
So there he is, just for you. But it was good. I love it. And the little droid. Where's he from? I remember him too. Something.
I'm not sure.
Yeah,
the one who shut himself off. I can't remember who it is.
Definitely seen it before. I can't remember.
Yeah, I've seen it before too. He's cute. But he just shut himself off and he threw him in the trash. So it's funny. But later he showed up later. So later on he showed up later. So done something.
This whole sequence, by the way, was just fantastic to me. Like between these kitchen droids with the banter back and forth, and how they get taken out, and then you see Boba Fett literally chasing this tiny little robot all around this kitchen. Oh my god, I loved it. I never knew that I wanted that.
Well, my thing is are they trying to show us kind of like a regular slice of life? So it's like everybody has they're showing us a world, right? They're showing us a world. Like, this is a regular world. They just happen to be droids and creatures. I mean, it's like a regular world, right?
Which I guess is part of the charm of Star Wars, where it'll give you these little moments where you could have taken this whole scene out and it wouldn't have affected the plot at all. It would have just streamlined the episode. But it's like, no, we'll spend a few minutes here just living in this droid kitchen and what goes on inside here.
I try to tell people all the time, you're right, Star Wars does stuff like this, and people forget that, I guess. Like it's like they do. They throw in cutesy stuff sometimes. That's on purpose. They do it all the time. The movies, everything. I'm like, you'll forget this happens. Mandalorian had a few of those moments too, but they throw them in. But like you said, it would have killed. If it wasn't in there, life would have went on. But it was in there. I like a little crossover. I thought it was kind of fun to see what's going on. But then we get the real action, which is we see the ship, and he's trying to get out. The gate is locked, and Fennec is fighting off the guards and shoot everybody. So I'm like, we did see this suspenseful moment. We knew it would be fine, obviously, get out, but just curious how we're going to do this. She shows her badassery. That's a word, right? Sure, why not? Yeah, sure. Like words, I don't care. I am educated, I swear. But no, she shows her badassery while he's trying to get the ship. The ship's still working, pretty good. And this whole sequence, and they actually get out. I love the ship. I love the way it flies. How do you think about this? We got a big sequence. So how do you guys feel about the sequence? John, we'll go to you first.
I loved, I really just loved seeing Boba get back into his ship for the first time again. Like, starting the whole thing up, and it was cool to see him in there. And Fennec did a fantastic job holding all those guards off. I don't know how. There was a lot of people she had to fight back. This whole scene was really, really great. just watching him fly around, banging into the walls and everything. It was fantastic. I loved it. I loved how much you saw of the inside of Jabba's palace in this. Like just, obviously now we've seen Boba spending time in it, but I feel like tonight we saw more of the palace than we've ever seen before, really. So
yeah, Frank, what do you think?
Yeah, no, that was it was cool. It wasn't, that's why I think I love the Mandalorian episode where we saw Boba come back, is just understanding the inner mechanics of that ship and how it works and how it rotates depending on what axis you're on. I as a kid having the toy, you're like, okay, but not really thinking about how the mechanics inside of it work. So to see it like, oh yeah, all right, that's how that's how this would work if this was a real life spaceship, how you would actually be able to sit in this thing. So no, that was cool. And it is interesting that as much as we were saying like, oh, where I'm saying like where's Boba's badass moment? So Fennec has had plenty of them so far this season. So I just feel like we've got Boba on the leash right now, and they're gonna unchain him for maximum impact towards the end of the season. So.
Well, there was a whole thing about Fennec not doing much this season first. They said she's not doing much. So I feel like almost they had to do this on some level, give her like all the glory, or to say the flowers while she's alive and all stuff, like give it to her now in this episode to show we know she's badass. And yes, I'll do a spin-off of her. Sure, I'll watch it. But I mean, I thought it was time to show her she's fully back to fully formed, fully back to engage. She can do this. We're showing they're actually working together. So it's like, well, they're working together. So we've seen them work together to get this ship out of here. And the last one, she shoots the thing. They get out. I mean, it was like they're good. They work together really well. Yeah. I thought it was but it was her turn to shine. I think folks were waiting for that anyway. Yeah. They give her a chance. So
I mean, and you get that key piece where you're like, all right. I mean, we already know she's sticking around, but to see that shift in her when she's the next time we stick to the plan, she's already like, all right, I feel like I could stick with this guy a little longer than just what I said I'd do right now.
Yeah. And your debt is paid, he said. And he said, "Where can I drop you off?" She's like, "I'm here for the ride." I like that. I'm here for the ride. That's right, girl. And that's what I wrote down. They become partners. They become partners at that point. I think it solidifies a little more later too. But I feel like right now, it's like they had the first date, it worked out. The second date, where now they're becoming partners. Like they're falling into something.
Well, and it's interesting because when he offers like, I can offer you loyalty, that I will pledge my life to protect yours. Yeah. I can understand from the worldview of people that are bounty hunters or similar kind of a lifestyle where it's just you against the universe, so to speak. To have somebody that is going to pledge themselves to protect you as well, that especially after getting a gut shot and seeing how quickly your life could have ended and things played out differently. It's like, I guess that could definitely make you want to rethink how you perceive the world, and like, or maybe I should stick with this guy. Maybe that's not a bad deal.
Yeah, that's true. So, but now, which I didn't realize, he did say earlier, I want my armor. So I forgot. He's going back to the Starlight Pit. I was like, oh, I forgot. I'm like, oh, he's going back there. Oh, okay. I had to clutch myself. Like, oh, he's going back there. And she's like, you want to go back there? She decided to go back there, to go back in. You want to go back in and look for it.
And I don't know. This was the part of the episode that kind of threw me off a little bit. I don't know how the two of you feel about it, because certainly, we knew he was in the Sarlacc pit in his armor. He gets out. He was in his armor. I don't know what he thought, like that somehow all his armor just fell off of him and just went back into the Sarlacc pit. I don't know what his first thought was, like, it must be in the Sarlacc pit. Because, he was taken from outside of it. So, and he knows he left with his armor. So I don't know why he necessarily thought that. Maybe he was, I haven't spent much time being slowly digested in a Sarlacc. So I don't know how conscious I would be of all my actions as well. Maybe I'd forget what I was wearing. But I would think I would remember, like, oh yeah, I busted out of this thing because I had my armor on. So it can't be in there still.
I did think that was a little weird too. Honestly, I was surprised that he, like, just. I guess I don't know. I guess maybe you think I got out of it. I was here. This was the last place I had it, so I'll look here first. Maybe.
Trace my steps.
Right? Yeah. Like, I don't know. Maybe, but part of me actually thinks that this makes me feel like we're gonna see more flashbacks. Because I think part of it, especially with kind of getting like that little hint of the Mandalorian in there, and then seeing when he met Fennec, or at least I would love to see, like, we're gonna see Boba and Fennec flying in just as Mando is leaving, and you see Boba going up to Cobb Vanth, like, like, where's my armor? Like,
Oh,
kicks Cobb Vanth's ass. Like,
there's rumors about who's going to show up now this second half of the season.
Yeah. So I hope the flashbacks continue, and I would love them to continue. Maybe an episode starts with him in the back to tank, and he's dreaming, and we see him get the armor from Mando, and then he wakes up and he's putting the armor on after he got out of the back to tank or something. I'd love to see something like that. Like, just keep the flashbacks going right up until we saw him on the Mandalorian or something like that. We might as well. You can use that, I feel like, in the storytelling. So
they actually might.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the whole thing. They might. Because again, he says he's looking for his armor.
Yeah.
So I guess the guy continues showing us when he gets it, right?
And I could see this episode felt so flashback heavy that I could see now, like, it being much shorter flashbacks going forward, because I feel like now they only have 3 episodes to tell the rest of the story, and I feel like there's a lot going on with the Pikes and everything. So I could see smaller flashbacks. I think this was the last episode of like a really flashback heavy
like that too.
element.
And I felt like that. It felt like that too. But I agree with what I said. It was weird. You want to go? I'm like, you're going back to the song. Like, but okay, sure. Well, we see what happens there. No little tense moment, so to speak, that happens there. And
I thought it was a cool sequence. I did like just the ship kind of hovering over there, over the pit, up close and personal, just getting slowly dragged in. And sure, I guess the danger is, like, it's great to have lasers, a laser cannon on your ship, but if you're not at the right angle, it's not going to do you much good of anything. So,
like, fire in the hole. I had to chuckle on that too. Like, how do you know that phrase? Oh, great. That's
I also don't know. Like, Boba comes to her at the end. And it's like, next time, don't ask before you push buttons on my ship or whatever. It's like, she just saved you guys. What were you?
Right.
What were you doing, Boba? I know you're trying to hold that joystick, but come on. Why are you yelling at her?
You said joystick. This is not an Atari 1500 or whatever. The Commodore 64. Yes. Well, it wasn't in there, folks. It was as empty as what was that thing that Gerardo did back in the 80s? We were trying to look at
Al Capone's vault.
Al Capone's vault. It was empty as Al Capone's vault. It was nothing in there, folks. I'm doing an old reference, folks. An old reference, a famous reference. And Fennec says, "You need a bank to tank. You need a back to tank." That's where it begins. Now we know why he's in one, to heal fully. So, so she talks. They talk again. Again, I feel like this is a drama. I feel like this is a total drama. Like, they give us a 40-some minute drama. They're talking. You want to start a house, okay? And they kind of give each other. You have brains. You have strength. I need that. He says to her. He brings up the whole. I'll pay you in loyalty. My life to protect yours. That's what she says. The Tuscans made you soft. He said it made them strong. And of course, they show us another scene from another show, a little snippet of him killing Bib. What do you think about that?
No, what I don't know. Because, like, John, I love the worldview that they're building for Boba, and just like the reason of, it's like with the Sand people taught him that you need a tribe. Life's easier if you've got a tribe. I dug that kind of shifting of Boba's worldview.
Yeah.
Me too, John. You like that?
Oh yeah, I absolutely love that. I think, and I think that's why it's been a little slower, because we've had to explain why Boba has the mindset that he has. But I don't think that's made it any less of a show or anything like that. I've actually really enjoyed it, and I think it's maybe not something that I don't think we get it enough, really. And I think that we know, because of the way that they've played out these 4 episodes and the way that they've explained these things, it's going to make what happens going forward just that much more explosive.
Yeah, I agree. That's my whole thing. What you guys are saying, I'm like, I think it's just totally their build. I like a good build.
Yeah.
And I think folks are just expecting action. I feel like if they didn't explain anything, you'd be upset also.
Yeah.
But some folks, I guess, maybe the argument could be, we'll do it in one episode. Explain it all in one episode. That's it. Well, it's a lot to explain, kind of, too. It's like, do you want to try to throw it all in 1 or 2 episodes? I mean, right.
We're talking about a character who is as big as he is after only being in the original trilogy for a total of, less than 10 minutes, a
6
few lines.
10 minutes,
And like he deserves some build up and some explanation. And how did we get here? And who are you? And what's made you who you are now? So I've appreciated it. So I've enjoyed it personally.
I too. So we got a little scene that brings up, and now we're caught up to date and kind of back to where he takes over. So we get that little scene that we all saw. At the beginning, this is a Mandalorian spinoff. I always kind of forget that. It's the same time period now, kind of as Mandalorian. That's why folks are going, who's coming on the show next? I mean, there's all kinds of speculations. I'm going to say them all. I'm just going to want to keep my eyes open and wait and see what happens. We're mentioning different people's names. You mentioned a name earlier. There's some names of people that are going
I mean, well, we do see. I mean, they say that like he's completely healed now.
Yep, he's completely healed.
Oh yeah.
Is that it? Is that no more back to?
No more back to. That's it. And they
push it down the stairs. We don't need you anymore.
Ship it to Inglewood. I'll take it. I'll lay in it for a while. Yeah. And funny line. Fennec goes, "What about the scars on the inside?"
Yeah.
That's kind of funny. Then we go to our sanctuary place. I gotta tell you, she hasn't had much to do. She had a little monologue moment.
Yeah.
She had a little moment, but Jennifer Beals is hot. Jennifer Beals, she must be in her early hundreds. I don't know how she is. She's hot. She's hot. She's been out for a long time. Flashdance was like 800 years ago. I saw a movie in a theater live. That's how old I am. And I'm just like, she looks timeless. And I just love all of it.
What a feeling.
What?
What a feeling.
What a feeling. I just got that. It took me a second. Oh my God, it took a second. She's a maniac. She's hot. I just want to say she's hot. I don't care. She's hot.
But I agree with you, James. Like, as I know she hasn't had much to do with this, and I agree with you. Like, you see her in this, and she gets a little bit more of a meaty monologue. But I'm also wondering, like, I mean, we still have 4 more episodes, so
right.
But so far, I'm also like, okay, was this little meaty monologue the reason? Like Jennifer was like, all right, sure, I'll do this.
See, Frank, I told you last week, Frank. I already told you, if they said James Lott Jr., we're gonna just put you in every episode where you sit in the background and act like you're drunk, I'll do it. It's Star Wars universe. I mean, I have a character. I want an action figure, and I want a cool name. Just give me a cool name, and I'll sit in the crowd dressed like something that I'll be a whatever. I would say Kardashian. Wrong thing. A Kardashian or whatever they call it. I'll be one of those. Put me in the corner, then I'll do it. I mean, I think Jared Beals is like Denny Trejo. He's all excited. He has a whole new poster with him on. It's like this is Star Wars, Frank. It's like of our generation. We're like, yeah, I'll do whatever the F you want.
Because you know that you're gonna get an action figure.
Exactly. I want one. I want an action figure. I do. I got to sit next to my other action figure here. But yeah, like Frank said, I've been saying this about her. We're just wondering. But again, she could have a bigger role actually later on. But we see our Chrysanthemum, of course, a little tipsy. How do you feel about all that? And he started fighting. How do you feel about all that? I mean, is that too real life? Is that too weird? I mean, ran off in the distance last episode.
Yeah.
So what are we feeling for all? John, let's go first. John,
I was just surprised. He didn't go very far. He took off like he was like really getting out of there.
Yeah.
He was just heading to the bar. But
I would too.
It was interesting. But I guess I don't know. I mean, Boba gave him some advice the last time we saw him. Maybe he's just sitting there kind of trying to figure out, what am I going to do next? So, so he's drinking and, it was interesting. Like the first thing you see, he's just so angry. He's so angry. And I'm just, you don't know why. He's just watching this group of Transoceans, like just gambling and you don't know what's going on. No, that was definitely weird.
Frank?
The first thing I thought was like when we see him sitting there watching and he's drinking out of his big old mead glass there and he's spilling it all over his fur. It's like, who cleans that fur, man? That's gotta be all just like ugh, with all that
matted together and everything.
Yes. Ugh, come on. Does he bathe? Is there any question like his hygiene habits?
Frank, you always do the ones like the carriers of the
That's
Jabba's
right.
pit. You always want those. Frank thinks about the little people, everybody. He thinks about the little people.
There you go. That's right. Yeah, I mean, I can only imagine that. I mean, because it was like, boy, why is he just so ticked off? I guess it's just him drinking heavily and seeing other people having good fortune, and him feeling like, I spent time locked up in a Rancor pit. That there was no Rancor, but I was in handcuffs for a while, and I just got tossed aside by the Hutts. What's going on with my life? So I can see why he snapped. You throw some booze into that.
Yeah, it's like there's an ego thing, right? Like he's supposed to be this great gladiator, and he got pushed into the dungeon by a little biker gang.
he got tossed twice. Like he got let go twice, basically. Everybody just dumping him.
Yeah.
We drinking too. Right about that. The funny part is she comes up, homegirl has her whole kind of like, no, you were great. Yes. And I mean, she has her whole speech and everything. The little guy's just sitting there. He's holding this little guy who's like, oh my God, don't hurt me, don't kill me. And he breaks off his arm. I laughed, so I laughed. I thought it was hilarious.
All right. Did you think back to tank for him or get him to the mod shop?
The mod shop. They can rebuild. We have the technology. We can do this. The bionic arm. I tell you, that 90s Trek, that tech music in the 90s, I was like, this is basically Bionic Woman all over again. And they were just like, he tried. He tried. He tried. And she's like, hit it, Max. I was like, okay, go on, girl. And go back to normal. It made me laugh. Just made me laugh.
Yeah.
Well, it was worth a shot.
I mean, I do like that. She's like, oh, you've got a sizable debt. You just let him go. I'll wipe it. And he's like, no. I'll tear this arm and I'll pay off my tab.
Right.
Same time.
Relax.
Yeah.
But how do you get money? How do you have money? You always have money on him? I didn't know I ever had money. I was just like, yo.
Who knows what's going on with that fur? He's got booze caked all over it. Him pulling out money is the least surprising thing that he's extracting out of that fur.
Well, Boba approaches him and says, I want to hire you. You need a job. So he's building his army, right? He's building his army.
Yeah.
One thing before we move on is, did either of you think that Max Grebo was destined for better things? Or is like, he's just kind of a washed up Tatooine, backwater, just musician? I don't know.
I like the washed up thing. I like the washed up thing. I like it. Makes me laugh. It makes me laugh. I mean, yeah, Max. She said that, I was like, 1, 2, 3. I'm like, what are we doing here? Like, what is this? This is Tatooine. This is not like Louisiana. It's not New Orleans or whatever. But she was like, I mean, I think it's hilarious.
Yeah.
Like, why not?
Maybe he's right where he wants to be,
Yeah.
I mean, I guess it all depends on how, in terms of status, what you view being like Jabba's, musician. What is that? What is that for you? Is that like high the highs, or it's like I'm just
or was that servitude? Was that servitude? And so now he's free. Maybe she pays him well. Maybe they see the eye candy. I don't know what's going on. That sanctuary. We're hanging out over there. We're not in there long enough. We're never in there long enough. We're always in there for a scene, and that's it. We're done.
Yeah.
Everybody's partying and having a good time, but we're not there long enough. The cantina we're just in there for a second and out.
Yeah.
We get enough time to be in there. Then they're always eating and drinking on this show. So now we have Jabba's former captains are all sitting around a table, eating and drinking or whatever. Fennec does her little speech about why Jabba is the man. Not Jabba, that's the wrong person. Why he's not the man. Why Jabba wasn't the man, and why Boba Fett is the man, and how you should all align with him. She just talks mighty shade about Jabba, how bad he really was, how he used to was, and how the Pike Syndicate are taking over. They're coming in, they're trying to take over everything. But these captains aren't just like easily rolling over. They got their little shady back. He wants to do a defense. He called it a defensive alliance, and they're like, they're coming after you, not us. Like, they're not bothering us. We like the spice stuff to come through. And I was laughing. It was just shade was real. They was like, okay, why should we do anything?
Yeah, it was another example of Boba trying to lead with respect and not getting a very warm reception.
They're not giving it to him. They're not giving it to him. They're not giving. They're like screw you.
Yeah, and he doesn't really threaten anybody. He's always trying to work with people.
Yeah,
and nobody wants to give him the respect.
it's just like Hollywood. It's just a metaphor for Hollywood.
Yeah.
All we want to do is work with people, and they're always giving you no respect. Right? What do you think?
I mean, certainly, what at least getting the neutral, they pledge to be neutral parties between him and the Pikes.
Yeah.
At least with that, I guess he acknowledges that as a win because they're adopting at least a worldview of knowing that the Pikes wouldn't stop with him if they kill Boba. They're going to keep going after the rest of the pieces. So, I don't think Boba really. I think he would have been surprised if anybody would have said like, "We're with you, Boba. We're with you." Oh yeah. I don't think he was expecting yeses. I think he was at least opening with that and expecting, hopefully, landing on neutrality.
And I think you're right because later he says, "Okay, I'll do it myself. Okay, bitches, I'll do it myself. I see nobody here is signing up, so I'll do it for all of us." I feel like see that's what happens in my family. I'm the one. I'll do it for everybody. I'll take the hit. I'll do it myself. If you remain neutral, he said that. So Frank is right. He said that, and I think you're right. I think he probably did it to see just for shits and giggles. Maybe they'll But he probably felt if I do this, they'll agree to that. Which they did.
Right.
Each one said they found it acceptable. That he go out there, he do all the hard lifting, heavy lifting, and then they reap the benefit afterwards. And so that sounds like those kind of people. That sounds like some shady people. That makes sense to me.
I mean, certainly if Boba pulls this all off, which I would like to think, your name's in the title of the show. I think odds are good. He will certainly have get himself a nice little a little area of the universe carved out for himself there. I think if it all goes his way, which hopefully it does, I mean, I think a lot of people are going to fall in line behind him.
Yeah.
And so he says basically as it ends, the whole thing ends. And she asks him, "So how are the credits?" And how he goes, "I got a lot of credits." And she says, "Credits can buy, probably muscle if you know what to do or where to look or something like that." I love that. Basically, he has enough stuff. Don't worry about that. But he said prepare for war. So he keep leading to this whole thing. So I feel like that's the point. He's staying calm. He is collecting. He's working it all out, getting his army together to fight this. He sees how big they are. He dealt them before, and so that's the whole thing. I think that's what we're leading for.
One thing as well too is I like the touch of having the dinner over the Rancor pit.
Yes.
And just so we get the little touch of like that Rancor popping up, freaking everybody out. And it's like, no, buddy, here, I'll feed you. We're all good. Just so like, yes, that relationship between him and that Rancor that he's going to ride, baby. He's going to ride.
He's going to ride it for you. Frank is going to lose his shit when he sees it. He's going to lose it. He's going to lose it. He's going to be like, oh my God, his dreams are going to come true.
Don't you short me on the visual effects for that shot. I want it looking good.
Top notch, folks. This is Lucasfilm Disney, folks. You can pay the money. Make sure it look good. Make sure it look good. Hello, Haywood. Yeah, make sure it look good. He loved the episode. Also, Haywood loved it. Everybody I know. I'm really curious. So now that I've done the show with you guys, I always then look around and be nosy and see what people think. So I'll do that at some point to see what they're whining about and see what they're complaining about. But I liked it. I think we're getting solid drama. At the action, now the action will start to happen. I'm fine with the pacing. I'm fine with how it's gone so far. I wanted explanations. I feel like that was very important for his story. So you know what his journey was. We need to know. I think everybody, whether they like it or not, will agree. We need to find out how to get from there to Mandalorian. Basically, they had to really figure that out. And so far, we've got the answer.
Yeah.
It's I don't know. John, do you have any thoughts on what Fennec says at the end in terms of where to look for muscle, about who she might be thinking of?
I thought I heard a very familiar theme again.
There he goes. Yes.
Of from the Mandalorian. And I'm thinking, she obviously knows about him because they had a run-in. So maybe she's thinking him, maybe we're gonna see him now. But so maybe maybe after, the events of the last chapter of season 2 of The Mandalorian, we're getting a hint that, what's happening. Who knows how far this war is down the line now, because he still has to go and get his armor. He doesn't have it. So we know that they're leaving the planet, so I think it's very interesting to see what direction this could take. And I don't really remember what period of days it would be in The Mandalorian that they would have been away, between getting the armor and then helping him fight Moff Gideon at the end of The Mandalorian. I don't even know what amount of time that is. So it might not be that long. Maybe this war that's coming takes place after season 2 of The Mandalorian. Maybe we'll see Boba Fett riding that Rancor and the Mandalorian riding a Blurg beside him to fight the Pikes.
That's I've heard. Again, I don't want to say things like I've heard rumors. I do not know. Some people say Bo-Katan. Some people will say, there's a lot of names being bandied about. And they do crossover. We know they do crossovers on these shows. So I would not be super surprised if we saw certain. And one of my friends, the first thing he wrote on Twitter was like, that music at the end of the episode. I was like, ha 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 ha. Yeah. The music was very key in this episode. So I wouldn't be surprised if we saw certain people come up for the big fight, almost like payback for him helping them. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised, Frank. I wouldn't be surprised if someone shows up.
Yeah. It won't be Gina Carano. No, it won't be her. She will not be showing up.
Let me drink my tea. That's a shade right there. Shady Wednesday.
Although, if you want to introduce a recast, sure.
Yeah, it won't be her.
But I would at least think, because I don't think, Boba, I'm thinking maybe his mindset would be like, money will get them in the door, the muscle, but hopefully my belief of loyalty and respect is what's going to keep them there. So
that's the hope, right? That's the hope. Yeah, I agree with that. I love some crossover. I would love to see Mando come on the show. And, I would love to see like Mando, Ahsoka, and him all together. They're all like,
oh yeah.
I would have a wet dream, but I don't know what's going to happen. I don't know. Who knows?
It's going to be just like the husband and wife from the sea planet.
Oh my God, that's hilarious!
Show up, and then there's your crossover. Like, what? These two? This is not what I was hoping for.
Yeah.
That's hilarious. Oh my God, I like them though, but that's hilarious. Yeah, Jon Favreau is writing for this. Oh, is he writing for that too? I'm not sure. I can't remember what he's doing, but I know he's writing these. I don't know if he's writing Ahsoka or any of those. I'm not sure I don't know who's writing those. I think they announced them once, but I don't remember. I mean, there's so many Star Wars series coming out. I don't know. All of them. But yeah, he's writing for this. This wasn't directed by Robert Rodriguez this time. It was directed by somebody else. So it wasn't him on this episode. But John wrote this episode. So he's writing. I can tell it's him a little bit. He likes a little humor. He's a comedic actor back in the day, so he likes a little humor. So that's why there was a lot of humor thrown in here. But I just feel like this episode really is a pivotal episode because now we're turning a corner. So episode 5 will be, chapter 5 will be very interesting to see where they go from there because now we're heading down the path to the end of the season.
Right.
I don't know. I really got to give it up for what Dave Filoni and Jon Favreau are doing with this stuff. I feel like they've really kind of dialed in to what makes a good anywhere from 35 to 1 hour, 60 minutes of television for Star Wars television, I should say. So,
whatever folks don't like it, Frank.
Well, you can't please.
I like it. I'm saying there folks, there's a whole contingency who hates it.
Wow. Yeah. Well, yeah, and I would be curious to see what their opinions are after the last episode comes out.
Yeah, me too. Just because
they're not giving you the story at the pace that you want the story, doesn't mean it's a bad story. It just means you wait for the whole thing and then judge.
Yeah, I feels like this story it's just taking longer to play out too. Whereas The Mandalorian, I mean, they were not that there weren't slow episodes with The Mandalorian at times, but it felt like it was always the adventure of the week. So there was always like this big climactic moment in every episode, something exciting, a lot of action. Whereas this has been a lot more storytelling that has kind of gone at a slower pace. They're different shows, and I think they're good for different reasons.
It's very much after season 2 of Mandalorian, which was like almost an adventure of the week. It was like it was a creature of the week for a while. It was always, I mean, it was literally like there was something. So this is coming off of that. I think people are just like, they're still hyped up from that. I think on some level, we're expecting the exact same thing here. But I appreciate storytelling. I do. I appreciate storytelling. So, and I've seen bad shows. So we've all seen bad shows. I don't think it's a bad show. I think just folks are just not happy with the choices. But I don't think it's a bad show. I don't think it's badly done or anything. But folks hate it. They're like, they hate it.
I'm willing to spend any time. I'm happy to spend any time in a Star Wars universe, whether it be a film or a show. If it's just an engaging story that's a solid plot, doesn't have all these kind of weird plot holes to it, and characters that are interesting and make you want to stick around and get to know more about them. My issues with the last couple Star Wars films. I don't feel that the way my frustrations I had towards that stuff that I've had in The Mandalorian or into the animated stuff or Boba Fett.
I agree. I agree. And that's where we'll end it, folks. That's your Boba Fett after show here on JLJ Media. I know, just like that. Just like that. Actually, I'll do an after show tomorrow, guys, on JLJ Media. But he's like, don't watch it. Okay. Watch it, of course, it's my network. Watch my after show. Anyways, but this is I love doing this with you guys. We've brought John on, and I'm making him stay for the rest of the season. You just stay the rest of the season. You can't go back. You have to stay now. You're now the bag to take. You're not the bag to take. Yeah.
I love it here, so thank you.
Yeah.
yeah. So, John, tell me where you can find you.
Yes. So if you want to find me for whatever weird reason, you can find me on Instagram or Twitter at jdun89. On Facebook, it's just my name, John Dunphy. I have another podcast that I do with two amazing friends, Gina Morgino and Kyle Petty. That's called Jury Duty, a Big Brother podcast. We cover Big Brother, Survivor, Challenge, and it's a lot of fun.
And it's coming soon. He'll be on one of my audio dramas. I'm waiting for the right role for him. He'll be coming on. He'll bring you on. So you'll be hearing his voice soon on one of the shows. Frank Moran, you know what to do.
Find me on Twitter and Instagram at HappyGoJackie.
This Friday, it's me, Frank, Matthew Theon, and Flo Boys talking Star Trek, the other universe that we're talking about. We're going to be talking about that Friday at 8 p.m. here on JLJ Media Live. That should be very interesting. I have lots of great questions. It'll be very interesting. And then Frank and I both again return this Sunday for season 6 of the General Hospital mini spotlight and recap here on JLJ Media, talking about General Hospital and what's been going on there. Lots going on. And we're doing that on Sunday. So you'll be seeing us both in those shows coming up. Everyone, please, we'll be back next Wednesday, same time. I almost said bad time, bad channel, the wrong people, but same time and channel and all that. Thanks for watching. Thanks for being in the chat room. Thank you. I'm not doing a recap of the X-Men 97. I'm not doing that one, Frank. I'm not doing that.
What? Oh, all right.
He's like, do you know what recap of Frank X-Men 97? I don't even know what that means. So
how dare you, James?
It's easy. It's easy, kid.
That's true. No, that show's not coming out until July 23.